Someone disrespects you in front of everyone. Your face gets hot, your chest tightens. Every instinct you have says, say something, fight back, don't let them win. But what if the most powerful thing you could do in that moment was nothing? What if silence wasn't weakness, but the sharpest weapon you own? This is James, 34 years old, Nashville, Tennessee. James has worked at the same mid-sized construction company for 6 years. He shows up early, stays late, knows the job better than most people in the building. But there's someone in that building who seems to make it his personal mission to remind James of his place. His supervisor, Rick. Rick is the kind of man who mistakes volume for authority, who corrects people loudly, in hallways, in meetings, in front of clients, not because he wants things done right, but because he wants to be seen as the one who does things right. Last Tuesday, James presented a project update to the whole team. He had prepared for 2 days, checked every number, every detail. 3 minutes into the presentation, Rick interrupted. "James, that's not how we do things here. Did you even read the company guidelines?" Everyone went quiet. Someone looked down at their notebook. Someone else shifted in their chair. James felt it. That heat behind the eyes, that pressure in the jaw, the voice in his head saying, "Say something, you know you're right, don't just stand there." But James said nothing. And for the rest of that day, he couldn't tell if that was strength or surrender. That evening, James sat in his truck for 20 minutes before driving home. He replayed the meeting over and over. Each time he thought of something better he could have said, something sharper, something that would have made Rick look small for once. By the time he got home, he was angrier than he'd been at the office. His wife, Claire, noticed immediately. "You okay?" "Fine," he said. He wasn't. He ate dinner without tasting it, watched TV without seeing it, and somewhere around midnight, lying awake in the dark, he asked himself the question that had been circling all day. Why does one person have this much power over how I feel? He had a good life, a wife he loved, 2 kids, a house he was proud of, and yet, one man, one comment, one Tuesday morning, and all of it felt smaller somehow. That's when James realized the problem wasn't Rick. The problem was the amount of space he had given Rick inside his own head. James had always been a hands-on guy, fixed his own car, built his own deck, didn't read much, but he listened. Long drives, early mornings in the garage, podcasts running in the background like company. That Saturday, he almost turned it off, but something made him leave it on. The guest was a former Marine named Thomas Cole. Not a motivational speaker, not a life coach, just a man who had spent 20 years learning how to stay composed when everything around him was designed to make him lose control. The host asked him, "What's the hardest thing you ever had to do in combat?" Thomas didn't say what James expected. He said, "Stay calm when someone was trying to provoke me into making a mistake." James put down his wrench. Thomas told a story James never forgot. When Thomas was a boy in rural Kentucky, a tornado tore through his county. It flattened barns, snapped telephone poles in half, threw a neighbor's truck 40 feet into a field. But in the middle of his family's property, a single oak tree stood. Same storm, same wind. Every branch whipping violently, but the trunk perfectly still. His grandfather stood beside him afterward and said, "You see that tree, Tommy? The storm didn't touch the roots. Wind can move everything above the ground, but it cannot reach what's planted deep." Thomas looked at James through the podcast microphone, through the radio, through the garage, and said, "When someone disrespects you, they're just wind. The question isn't whether the branches move. The question is how deep your roots go." Thomas had 5 principles he called the roots. Not rules, roots. Because rules tell you what to do. Roots determine who you are when everything is trying to shake you. Root number 1. Don't respond to the moment, respond to the meaning. When Rick humiliated James in that meeting, the moment said, "Defend yourself," but the meaning said, "This man is threatened by you." Threatened people attack. Secure people don't. When you respond to the moment, you fight. When you respond to the meaning, you win. Route number 2. Your silence is not their victory. Most people confuse composure with submission. They think, if I don't say something, they win. But consider this. The most dangerous person in any room is not the loudest one. It's the one who never loses control. Because everyone in that room knows that person cannot be rattled. And a person who cannot be rattled cannot be controlled. Route number 3. Let them show who they are. When Rick interrupted James in front of the team, he didn't expose James. He exposed himself. Every person in that room saw it. Maybe they didn't say anything, but they saw it. Disrespect, when met with dignity, always lands on the person who threw it. Route number 4. Process it, but not alone, and not forever. James sitting in that truck for 20 minutes? That's not weakness, that's human. But the problem was he brought it home, fed it through the night, let it grow bigger in the dark. Thomas's rule was simple. You get 1 hour. Feel it, name it, understand it. Then you put it down. Not because it doesn't matter, but because carrying it only hurts the person carrying it. Route number 5. Know what you're protecting. James had a wife, 2 kids, a house he built with his hands, a reputation earned over 6 years. None of that belonged to Rick. None of it could be taken by a comment in a meeting. Thomas said, every time someone tries to provoke you, ask yourself one question. What am I actually protecting right now? Your ego or your life? Ego wants to win the moment, but your life needs you to win the long game. 3 weeks later, Rick did it again. Different meeting, different topic, same tactic. James, that estimate is off, way off. Did you even check the supplier quotes? The room went quiet, again. James felt it, again. That heat, that pressure. But this time, something was different. He took one breath, looked at Rick calmly, and said, I did. I can walk everyone through the numbers after the meeting if that's helpful. Then he continued his presentation. No anger, no sarcasm, no performance. Just roots. Afterward, a colleague named Sandra stopped him in the hallway. I don't know how you do that, she said quietly. He does that to everyone. You're the first person I've seen who doesn't let him win. James drove home that evening, and the truck felt different. He didn't sit in the parking lot. He didn't replay the meeting. He just drove. And for the first time in months, he felt like himself again. There will always be a Rick. In every office, every family, every neighborhood. Someone who mistakes your calm for weakness. Someone who measures their height by making others feel small. You cannot control that, but you can control your roots. How deep they go, how steady the trunk stays when the branches are moving. The storm will come. It always does. The question is, what are you planted in? If today you choose roots over reactions, drop the word oak in the comments. And if someone in your life is fighting this battle right now, send them this video. Sometimes the right story at the right moment can change everything. Mindshift Tales. Shift your mind, change your life.